For our second part of knowing how to create user-friendly courses, we're going to be talking about this sidebar navigation over here because Canvas is unique in the fact that we can create a visual homepage to quickly direct people where they need to go, but we can also include these sidebar navigations, which becomes helpful whenever we're trying to make things as easy to access as possible. But you'll notice by default we have a lot of things enabled that we probably don't need. So we're going to go through how to take those away and then how we can add in a few things that we may want into our course. So I'm going to go to Settings, and we're going to go to Navigation, and you'll notice we have a lot of things enabled. What I need to know ahead of time is what things are my students going to need to access. Am I going to need them to access pages? Am I going to need them to access people in the course? This will not take away from what the teacher has access to. It only takes away from what the students can see. So I'm going to go through here and give you some suggestions on things that you could probably leave off. And then you can figure out exactly what you need for your course based on what you expect out of the students. So kind of going back to Module 1, having a clear plan in place makes this go a lot faster. So the first thing I'm going to take off is people. I find that you don't really need to go and see the whole list of people in the course. I mean, it's just not necessary. Also, you don't need to go to pages. As an instructor, things should be organized and easy to find for students. It shouldn't be one of those things that they have to go to pages in order to find the page. I'm going to take off files too. This may or may not be something that you can leave up there. I've never found it really helpful just to have a whole list of course files in there, because literally it's everything from the course to things that you've uploaded. So whether it be image files or files you want your students to access, I've always found it was better to use an assignment or something else to do that. Also, your course syllabus, if you're not planning on updating that, just go ahead and disable it. Now, it updates automatically based on the assignment due dates that you've put in there. But if you're not planning on directing your students there, they can still see it within a calendar on their dashboard. Outcomes is another thing that really isn't necessary. I'm going to take off rubrics. I'm even going to take off quizzes, conferences, collaborations, chat, attendance. A lot of these just really aren't necessary for the students. They are there as options. None of these other things are going to be particularly helpful to students. Now, I would always leave grade sync on there if you're syncing over to PowerSchool. So if you're syncing your grades to PowerSchool, leave that on. That will be a helpful tool whenever you're wanting to figure out how long it's been since you've synced grades, or even just going there to see if something didn't sync, what the error was. It's not accessible to students, so your students can't see this. It's only visible to you, but if you take off grade sync here, you won't be able to see it either. Now, I've included a few things from the district level, which is iReady and Clever. So if your students are going to need those, feel free to leave those on there, or you can remove those as well. That's completely up to you. For this course, I'm just going to go ahead and remove them because I know that I won't need anybody getting to that. Also, I don't really need anybody going to discussions or assignments. And that mainly comes down to all the assignments are embedded within the module, so there's no need for me to have an assignment there. Once we get done with this, we have to scroll down to the bottom and hit save. Once we do that, it will adjust the course navigation for students. And now I've narrowed it down really to a handful of things that really help the students focus. And let me go to student view just so you can see this difference in the layout. Before we had a long list of things. Now, look at these. I can go home, grades, or modules. That's really the only places I can go. But to be honest, it hasn't limited me in any way, because I can still get to modules. I can still go to the places I need to go. It doesn't impact anything that I'm doing. Now, you're probably wondering, well, it seems like there were a few other things there. Well, they were there, but if I don't have content in them, like announcements, then it won't show up until I have something there. So that's how we can go through and limit what students see in this sidebar navigation. The next thing, I'm going to go back to settings because I find this to be one of the most helpful tools to make the navigation what I want it to be within Canvas. I'm going to go over here to apps in settings. And the one you want to find is the redirect tool. And what this allows me to do, I'm going to click that and then add app. I can send the user navigation to any web page I want, any external tool, anything. So let's say I wanted it to be going to the Stanley County Schools homepage. I'm using this as an example just because it's something that you need to see in order to really appreciate. So in order to do that, I just know it's stanleycountyschools.org. And then I'm going to say that I want to show it in the course navigation. I want it in this course. I'm going to add app. So now, when I go and refresh this, it now shows up in this sidebar navigation. So just showing you student view again so you can see that. I've now have a direct navigation link to an external site that's going to send me to another page. So what this is telling me, I must have mistyped it, but what it would do is it would send me to the Stanley County Schools homepage. So it's a very powerful tool. The redirect tool works out fantastic for making your homepage exactly what you want it to be. Now, that pretty much sums it up for everything that you can do with this. It's pretty simple to adjust the sidebar navigation and make it what you need it to be. Some of these things you're going to find, I want to keep them on for my course. That's perfectly fine. But the fewer options for students, the better, because things will be more focused and more user-friendly without a ton of options on that sidebar.